Chapter 1. The call I didn't answer. I stare at my phone as it buzzes for the 15th time in an hour. The caller ID shows St. Mary's Hospital. But I don't pick up. My wife Sarah is there for what she called a minor procedure. Gallbladder surgery that should have been routine. Everyone expects me to be holding her hand, playing the devoted husband. Instead, I'm sitting in my car outside our house, engine running, suitcases in the back seat. The irony isn't lost on me that I'm the one who should be in a hospital bed. 3 weeks ago, I received my own devastating news. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. 6 months to live, maybe less. Sarah doesn't know. Nobody knows except my doctor and me. I discovered her affair the same week I got my diagnosis. While I was processing my mortality, I found text messages on her phone that shattered everything I thought I knew about my marriage. The messages weren't just about sex, they were about my replacement. She'd been planning a future with Marcus, her coworker, while I was dying. The phone buzzes again. This time it's a text from Sarah's sister Jenny. "Where are you? Sarah's asking for you. Stop being such a child." I laugh bitterly. If only she knew what I'd discovered. If only she knew that while Sarah was planning her new life, I was planning my exit from this one. Another call comes through. I let it go to voicemail and listen to the message. "Mr. Chen, this is Nurse Patricia from St. Mary's. Your wife is asking for you. She's becoming quite distressed. Please call us back as soon as possible." Distressed. The word echoes in my mind. Sarah has no idea what real distress feels like. She hasn't sat in Dr. Peterson's office and heard the words terminal and inoperable in the same sentence. My phone rings again. This time it's Tom, my best friend and the only person who knows the complete truth. "You sure about this?" he asks without preamble. "I'm sure. Once you do this, there's no going back, David. I'm dying, Tom. I don't have time to play games or try to fix something that was never real." I hang up and drive toward St. Mary's, my mind replaying the moment my world fell apart. Chapter 2. The discovery that changed everything. Before continuing to the next chapter, please subscribe, like the video, and tell me in the comments which moment stayed with you. It was 2 days after my cancer diagnosis, and I was still reeling from the news. Dr. Peterson had been direct but compassionate when he delivered my death sentence. "I'm sorry, David. The cancer has metastasized to your liver and lungs. We can try palliative chemotherapy to extend your time, but realistically, you're looking at 6 months, perhaps less." I'd sat in his office, numb, trying to process the fact that at 34 years old, I was dying. I kept thinking about all the things I'd never do, all the dreams Sarah and I had talked about. When I got home, Sarah wasn't there. A note on the counter said she'd gone to book club and would be back late. I felt grateful for the extra time to compose myself. That's when her phone started buzzing on the kitchen counter. She'd left it charging, something she rarely did. The screen lit up with a message notification. "Can't wait to start our real life together once he's out of the picture." My hands shook as I picked up the phone. Something in that message, the casual cruelty of "out of the picture," made me open it. The full conversation appeared, and my world shattered for the second time in 2 days. "I'm so tired of pretending," Sarah had written earlier that day. "Every time I come home to him, I feel like I'm wasting my life." "Soon, babe," Marcus replied. "Once you get through this surgery and recover, we can tell him. He'll be so focused on taking care of you, he won't see it coming." I scrolled up, my heart breaking with each message. Months of conversations revealed not just an affair, but a calculated plan. They discussed my boring personality, my predictable routine, how I was just a safety net until something better came along. "Does he suspect anything?" Marcus asked in one exchange. "Please, David suspects nothing. He's too trusting, too naive. Sometimes I wonder how he functions in the real world." They'd been meeting every Tuesday when I thought Sarah had book club. They'd used our anniversary weekend for a romantic getaway, while I believed she was at a work conference. I found photos next, intimate pictures taken in our bedroom, in our bed, while I was away on business trips. One message from 3 weeks ago made me physically sick. "The timing is perfect. Once I get through the surgery and recover, we can tell him. He'll be devastated, but he'll get over it eventually. Men like David always do. When Sarah emerged from the shower, humming happily, I managed to act normal. "Hey, babe," she said, kissing my cheek. "How was your day?" "Fine," I replied, my voice somehow steady. "How was book club?" That night, I lay awake beside her, listening to her breathe, watching her sleep peacefully while my mind raced. I had two devastating pieces of information. I was dying, and my wife was planning to leave me anyway. The next morning, I made a decision. I wouldn't tell Sarah about the cancer. I wouldn't confront her about the affair. Not yet. I would wait for the perfect moment to expose everything. Chapter 3. Setting the perfect trap. The beauty of my plan lies in its simplicity. I know Sarah better than she thinks. She's always been dramatic, always needed to be the center of attention. Her surgery is scheduled for today, and she expects me to be there, playing the worried husband for her family and friends. Instead, I've orchestrated something far more revealing. Yesterday, while Sarah was in the shower, I sent Marcus a text from her phone. "David's being weird and distant. I think he suspects something. Can you come to the hospital tomorrow? I need you there." I deleted the message from her phone afterward, but I knew Marcus would show up. He's arrogant enough to think he could walk into a hospital where Sarah's entire family would be gathered. I also sent anonymous screenshots of their conversations to several key people. Sarah's mother Linda, her best friend Rachel, and Marcus's wife Diane. Not the full conversations, just enough to plant seeds of doubt. To Linda, I sent a screenshot of Sarah saying, "Sometimes I wonder what my life would be like if I'd never gotten married." To Rachel, I sent one of Sarah complaining about our boring, predictable life together. To Diane, I sent a photo of Marcus and Sarah having coffee together, with a message timestamp that corresponded to when Marcus told his wife he was working late. My friend Tom knows the full truth. He's the only one I've told about both the cancer and the affair. "You sure about this, David?" he asked me this morning when we met for coffee. "Once you do this, there's no going back." I nodded. "I'm dying, Tom. I don't have time to play games or try to fix something that was never real." Now I'm parked across from the hospital watching the entrance. My phone buzzes with another angry message from Jenny. "This is ridiculous, David. Your wife is in surgery and you're throwing a tantrum over some stupid argument? Grow up and get here now. Let them think I'm having a tantrum. The truth will be so much more devastating than anything they can imagine." I see Marcus's BMW pull into the parking lot. He's carrying flowers and wearing his best suit, like he's visiting his girlfriend rather than his married coworker. Perfect. Everything is falling into place. Chapter 4. The lover's grand entrance. I know Sarah's room number, and I position myself in the hallway where I can hear everything but remain unseen. The door is partially open, and voices carry clearly into the corridor. "Where is he?" Marcus asks, his voice carrying that entitled tone I've come to recognize. "I don't know," Sarah replies, sounding weak but annoyed. "He's being such a baby. Just because we had a fight about money doesn't mean he should abandon me here." I almost laugh. We didn't have a fight about money. We haven't fought about anything in weeks. "Maybe it's better this way," Marcus suggests. "Less complicated when we tell him." "Tell him what exactly?" Sarah's voice drops to a whisper. "About us, about the baby, about everything." My blood runs cold. "Baby? What baby?" "Marcus, we agreed to wait until after I recover. I need to be strong enough to handle his reaction when he finds out the baby isn't his." The hallway seems to spin around me. I grip the wall for support. Not only has Sarah been cheating, but she's pregnant with Marcus's child and planning to pass it off as mine. I pull out my phone and start recording their conversation. "He's going to be devastated," Sarah continues. "But maybe it's for the best. You're everything he's not. Successful, ambitious, exciting. And rich," Marcus adds with a laugh. "Don't forget rich." They laugh together, and I realize I'm listening to two people who genuinely believe they're superior to me. "How far along are you?" Marcus asks. "Almost 3 months. I found out 2 weeks ago." That's why I scheduled the surgery now before I start showing. Wait, the surgery isn't real? Oh, it's real. I do have gallbladder issues, but I could have waited. I wanted to do it now so David would be extra attentive and caring. It'll make the breakup easier. I can play the victim. My hands are shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. Every word is another knife in my back. You're brilliant, Marcus says. He'll never see it coming. I've heard enough. I stop the recording and step into the doorway. Actually, I'm not that stupid. Chapter 5. The moment of truth, the silence in the room is deafening. Sarah's face goes white, and Marcus drops the flowers he was holding. They scatter across the floor like broken promises. David, Sarah stammers, trying to sit up in her hospital bed. What are you doing here? You thought I was sulking at home like a child. I walk into the room, closing the door behind me. But then I realized I was missing the show. Marcus tries to recover first. Look, David, this isn't what it looks like. I pull out my phone and press play. Their voices fill the room, discussing the baby that isn't mine, their plans for our future, their mockery of my character. Sarah's heart monitor starts beeping faster as her panic rises. How long have you been listening? She whispers. Long enough. I turn to Marcus. So you're the father of my wife's baby. Congratulations. I hope you're ready for the responsibility. Marcus shifts uncomfortably. We were going to tell you. When? After you'd convinced me to raise another man's child while I'm dying of cancer. The words hang in the air like a bomb. Sarah's eyes widen, her mouth opening without sound. What did you say? She finally manages. I said I'm dying. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Diagnosed 3 weeks ago, right around the time I discovered your affair. The heart monitor is beeping frantically now. Sarah tries to sit up, wincing at the pain. David, no, that can't be. Why didn't you tell me? Why would I tell you? So you could play the devoted wife while texting your boyfriend behind my back? So you could inherit my life insurance and run off with him? The door opens and Jenny walks in, stopping short when she sees the tension. What's going on here? She demands. I hand her my phone. Listen to this. Your sister has something to tell you. Jenny takes the phone and presses play. I watch her face transform from confusion to shock to disgust. Sarah, tell me this isn't real. Jenny pleads when the recording ends. Sarah can't speak. She's crying now, but I can see the calculation in her eyes, trying to figure out how to spin this. I was confused. She finally manages. I made mistakes, but I love you, David. We can work through this. Work through what? Your pregnancy with another man's child? Your plan to deceive me while I'm dying. The door opens again, and Linda walks in. She's holding her phone, her face tight with anger. The messages were real, weren't they? She asks Sarah directly. The ones someone sent me this morning? I nod. All real. Every screenshot, every conversation, every lie. Marcus finally speaks up. Look, David, I'm sorry this got complicated, but Sarah and I have real feelings for each other. What you two have is just comfortable. Comfortable. I laugh hollowly. You're right. It was comfortable. Comfortable enough that I trusted her with my life, my future, my love. In the chaos of everyone talking at once, the door opens again, and a woman I recognize from photos walks in. She's elegant, wearing an expensive business suit, with an expression that could freeze fire. Diane, Marcus's wife. Hello, darling, she says to Marcus, her voice dripping with ice. Imagine my surprise when I received some very interesting photographs this morning. Chapter 6. The house of cards falls. Diane walks into the room like she owns it, pulling out a folder of printed screenshots and photos, laying them on Sarah's hospital bed one by one. I thought you were working late all those nights, she says to Marcus, her voice eerily calm. I thought your business trips were actually for business. She turns to Sarah with a smile that could cut glass. Congratulations on your pregnancy. I hope Marcus has told you about his financial situation. Sarah looks confused. Financial situation? Diane laughs, a sound completely devoid of warmth. Oh, he didn't tell you? Marcus has been living off my trust fund for years. His successful career is funded entirely by my family's money. I watch Sarah's face as this information sinks in. She'd been so proud of landing a successful man. That's not true, Marcus protests weakly. Do you? Diane interrupts. Then explain why your salary barely covers your car payment. Explain why every major purchase you've made in the last 5 years has come from our joint accounts. Explain why you've been embezzling from those accounts to fund your affair. The word embezzling hangs in the air like a death sentence. Embezzling, Jenny repeats. Diane nods. Thousands of dollars over the past year. Romantic getaways, expensive gifts, hotel rooms, all charged to accounts that I fund. She addresses the room. Marcus has been embezzling from our joint accounts to fund his relationship with your daughter. The business trips were romantic getaways charged to my credit cards. Sarah looks like she's been slapped. You told me you were successful. You told me you could take care of me and the baby. I can, Marcus insists, but his voice lacks conviction. With what money? Diane continues. I'm filing for divorce tomorrow. You'll get nothing. And given the embezzlement, I'll be pressing criminal charges as well. The machines monitoring Sarah start beeping frantically. Nurse Patricia rushes in, demanding that everyone leave except immediate family. As the room clears, I take one last look at Sarah. She's no longer the confident woman who thought she could manipulate everyone around her. David, she calls out as I reach the door. Please don't leave me like this. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I pause. For a moment, I feel the ghost of the love I once had for her. Then I remember the laughter in those recordings. You made your choices, Sarah. Now you live with them. Chapter 7. The aftermath begins. I walk out of the hospital into the afternoon sunlight, feeling lighter than I have in weeks. Tom is waiting in the parking lot. How do you feel? He asks. Free, I answer honestly. For the first time in months, I feel free. The next few days bring a cascade of consequences. Sarah's affair becomes the talk of her workplace when the screenshots circulate. Marcus is fired when his embezzlement comes to light during Diane's divorce proceedings. Jenny calls me repeatedly, apologizing for her harsh words and begging me to reconsider. Linda shows up at my house, crying and asking how she failed as a mother. My lawyer, Robert, helps me navigate the divorce proceedings with surgical precision. Given the adultery, the pregnancy by another man, and your terminal diagnosis, this should be straightforward. He assures me. She'll get nothing. I spend my remaining time putting my affairs in order. I donate most of my possessions to charity, set up a trust for any legitimate children I might have had, and write letters to the people who mattered to me. I don't write one to Sarah. There's nothing left to say. Chapter 8. Karma's final act. 6 months later. I'm in hospice care. Tom visits daily, keeping me updated on the fallout from my hospital revelation. Sarah gave birth to a boy who looks exactly like Marcus. She's living with Linda in a cramped apartment, struggling financially and emotionally. Marcus lost everything in his divorce and moved back in with his parents at age 38. Sarah tried to contact me several times through intermediaries, claiming she needs closure or forgiveness. I've ignored every attempt. Jenny visits once, tearful and apologetic. She really did love you, you know, she tells me. In her own way, I consider this. Maybe. But love without respect, without honesty, without loyalty. What kind of love is that? My parents fly in from Florida for my final weeks. They're angry about Sarah's betrayal but proud of how I handled it. You could have been vindictive, my mother says. You could have destroyed her completely. I didn't need to, I reply. She destroyed herself. I just made sure everyone could see it. As my strength fades, I find peace in knowing that I faced my death with dignity. I didn't beg, didn't compromise my values, didn't enable further deception. Some might call it revenge, but it feels more like justice. Sarah made choices that had consequences. I just made sure those consequences found their way home. Chapter 9. The final truth. I die on a Tuesday morning, the same day of the week Sarah used to meet Marcus. Tom is holding my hand when I take my last breath. He later tells me that my last words were, "I kept my dignity." The funeral is small but meaningful. My parents, Tom, a few close friends, and surprisingly Linda and Jenny attend. Sarah is not invited and doesn't come. The reading of my will is my final message to the world. Everything goes to cancer research and children's charities. Sarah receives nothing. Not my house, not my savings, not my life insurance. She contests the will, but my lawyer anticipated this. The adultery clause I insisted on makes her claim impossible. I leave behind a letter to be read at the will reading. I don't write this for revenge. I write this so that everyone understands. Love requires honesty, marriage requires respect, and trust, once broken, cannot be rebuilt on the same foundation. I chose to die as the man I always was rather than live as the fool Sarah needed me to be. Tom tells me later that Sarah broke down completely when the letter was read. She finally understood the magnitude of what she'd lost. Not just a husband, but a good man who loved her completely until she made it impossible. Chapter 10. The final word. In the end, I got exactly what I wanted. The truth exposed, justice served, and my dignity intact. Sarah got exactly what she deserved. The consequences of her choices. Sometimes the best revenge is simply refusing to be a victim. Sometimes justice is just letting the truth speak for itself. Sarah struggles as a single mother, working minimum wage jobs because her reputation is destroyed. Marcus pays child support when he can, but he's barely making ends meet. Their real love couldn't survive without my money and their shared delusion of superiority. Linda helps with the baby but lives with daily disappointment in her daughter. Jenny maintains limited contact with Sarah, their relationship forever strained. Rachel cut ties completely after learning she'd unknowingly covered for the affair. Diane moved on quickly, dating someone who appreciates what he has, posting pictures of her new happiness on social media. And me? I died on my own terms. I died knowing that I didn't let them make a fool of me. I died knowing that the truth came out, that justice was served. Some people might think I was too harsh, that I should have forgiven Sarah. But forgiveness doesn't mean accepting betrayal. Love without respect is just a pretty word for self-destruction. I faced my death with honesty. I faced it with dignity. I faced it on my own terms. In my final days, when the pain was overwhelming, I thought about forgiveness. But then I remembered the laughter in those recordings, the casual cruelty, the calculated deception. Some things don't deserve forgiveness. Some betrayals are too deep, too deliberate, too cruel. Sarah didn't make a mistake. She made hundreds of choices over the course of a year, each one a betrayal. And I chose truth over comfortable lies. I chose dignity over playing the fool. I chose to die as myself rather than as someone's victim. Sometimes the best revenge is simply refusing to be a victim. Sometimes justice is just letting the truth speak for itself. I kept my dignity, and that's enough.